Crusader Kings 3 back from the summer break and some news. Map and other improvements for the interesting Carantanian culture, but mainly for India and Indian cultures. That's going to be an interesting one. So, if you don't know the Carantanians, you're not alone. They are a culture that existed like around 1000 after Christ. Around that date, a little bit before even. And they were, as you can see, Slavs in the Alps, basically. And their name means basically the rock people. So, there's that. It's a small cultural addition in southern Europe. Some of you keen-eyed readers noticed back in a previous dev diary. The Carantanian culture is quite extensive on GameStart and covers most of southeastern Bavaria. From a historical point of view, the culture is of a West Slavic origin, but as they got cut off from their ancestral brethren in the Carpathian Basin, they became gradually closer to the South Slavic peoples. So they're kind of Slavonian, Austrian, this kind of thing came out of them, but they are of Slavic origin. Having West Slavic heritage, but speaking a South Slavic language, interestingly. As you can see, the interesting Carantanian culture is stoic. Typical Slav, I'd say, knowing some of them, especially from chess. Cultural pillars are West Slavic heritage, South Slavic language, martial, men only, Carantanian aesthetics. So they have original aesthetics, which is very nice. Mountaineer ruralism and martial admiration. Very cool culture to be added in. And then we're going to the Indian culture with Trin Tragula. So the cultural rework has been a good opportunity to rework the cultures in India a bit. The current setup is one inherited from Crusader Kings 2. It was sometimes not entirely appropriate for our era. Better reflect the diversity of the subcontinent, they've added 2 new cultures, changed the old ones around a bit, also added a great number of potential culture names for when the large starting cultures diverge. First of all, they've gotten rid of Hindustani culture, and 2 new cultures have been broken away from what it used to cover in the south. The core part of the culture covers the Gangetic plain around the river Ganges and is now known as Kanauji after the imperial city of Kanauji Kanyakubja, which was the main prize of the region and often gave its name to it. Hindustani itself is still around in a way as a possible name for a cultural hybrid between an Iranian or Turkic culture with one of the North Indian cultures. So there are prepared names, that's an additional information, prepared historical names for, I would say, probable hybridizations. And that's also interesting. Let's have a look here with Rajasthani, Bengali, Oriya, Gond, and so on, but the cultures are different. Starting in the central parts of India, the newly added Gond culture, where is it? We have it here in the center. We have it here in detail. Has been carved out of areas that were previously Hindustani, Marathi or Oriya. In 1066, most Gond counties are under the control of the Siddhi kingdom. And many of these counties are now also tribal at start. So tribal, more tribal going out. Quite interesting. This culture covers a region that was in an odd place in the old setup at the border of several cultures, but not quite belonging to either of them. So we now have a clear Gond culture. What's the Gond culture about? That's always interesting. So we're looking at the Gond culture now from another culture, as you can see here. It marks foreign culture here. Gond culture likes to get together. They're communal. They have the Dravidian heritage, the Telugu language. Martial is men only as well, and they have a known aesthetics, the Gond aesthetics. I'm so looking forward to all the aesthetics too. Then we have jungle warriors, sacred groves, and cultural blending. Sacred groves. Jungle warriors probably something very specific for the terrain. Sacred groves maybe specific to the religion, I don't know. And culture blending, that seems to be something general. Looking forward to that too. Covering the Malva Plateau, as well as some of the adjacent regions that were previously considered Hindustani. This new culture shares a language with the Rajasthani and Gujarati cultures. Gorja Abhabhramsa. The existing Rajput culture has been renamed to Rajasthani, since Rajput as a cultural distinction does not really fit the start date, and Assamese is now known as Kamrupi. Wow, I admire these experts in these cultures. That's something so crazy. You can see we're coming out of another culture that has an acceptance of the Malvi culture that you can see here. Malvi is directly bordering Gond and is also in a big river here. So what is that Malvi culture? It's a Stoic culture as well. Innovations are early medieval. Yeah, we have to look at that. Look, early medieval. It's everywhere here so far. The question is if there will be an exception from early medieval if you're going deeper into tribals. It could be. We'll see. Maybe even in the jungle there are some innovations that are not medieval but before that. Could that be possible? I don't know. So they have Indo-Aryan heritage, a very common heritage, Gorja language, martial men only, and Malvi aesthetics. They're fervent temple builders, maybe connected to their religion. They have mystical ancestors. They have Khadga Puja, that looks like a very local martial tradition, and they are agrarian, which really fits this water-rich region of Malvi, right? Then we have Indian history and title improvements. While looking over the subcontinent, it was also clear that in some areas the title setup was also better suited for the early modern era rather than the medieval era around Crusader Kings 3 start dates. A number of baronies have been renamed and reorganized into new counties, and a number of new vassals have been scripted in, especially for the 1066 start. Yeah, we know a lot more about the 1066 start than about the starts before, so going more specific there is definitely something that you can do, and that is very honorable to do. The starting presumptions about who controlled what in 1066 have also been revisited to bring things better in line with history and create a more interesting start. There are now more starting characters, both independent and vassals, and most kings will no longer start above their domain limit. Which is helping, I get. Get it? Which is helping. So they might have something to help them live their domain limit. They might just be better kings. I don't know. Some things like the crisis of the Chola Empire should also be a bit better represented in the initial setup, with strong and somewhat unruly Pandya vassals, a much stronger Lankan revolt, and the Chira Raya now independent with his historical vassals to support him. You can now also play as the future king Kulotunga. There are also other and minor changes, such as revisiting the extent of cultures like Kashmiri and Telugu, and assigning a number of tribal counties in the eastern central part of the subcontinent. I like that tribal thing, that they're adding tribes everywhere to see that there's still a transition period from tribal to rather modern states, as you can see here. Very nice country of the image of the Sinhalese rebellion in 1066. So there's the rebellion is currently going on, and that's exciting. So that is not a structural dev diary, but a very specific one. But I also like the specific ones because they add so much flavor. Like of course you can be excited about the game mechanics; they are great. But from time to time, the flesh. The flesh of the game, and that is the history, the surrounding history, is a welcome addition to all the gameplay talk. Thank you for watching, and happy gaming to you. What did you like best from this dev diary? I mean, I like best that I looked up the the Carantanian culture, because I live kind of close to that. And now know a lot more about the Slavs, very close to the Germanic cultures. Very nice to know about that. Have a great time until next time, and happy gaming. Looking forward to more Crusader Kings 3 in the future. Have a great time until then, and happy gaming. This is Immanuel Can signing out. See you soon, and happy gaming.